Okay, everybody, and we're on to the one of the most tedious and not so fun parts of this process. That is the rotoscoping. What we're going to do is we have to create a matte, an alpha channel for these bushes, for this pathway, and for our actress where she's walking, so that we can put them in front of this bridge that we're rendering. And we've also got this castle back here that you can see kind of overlaps onto this foreground hillside. So we've got to roto this foreground hillside. So you can do this manually, right? The one of the if we go ahead over to the motion tracking and I prefetch. One of the real drags of rotoscoping is having to do manual rotoscoping, which is just every frame all by eye. But here, what we can do is we can do a little bit with tracking. So you can see we've got some tracks in here, right? Unfortunately, on this bush over here, there are almost none. There are none at all that they run through the whole sequence. So I've got a solution for that we can do later on. Same goes for this pathway. If you watch that pathway, we've got no tracks. We've got tracks, we just have none that run kind of the whole length of the shot. So I've got a solution for that as well. However, up here on this mountainside, we do have tracks that run the entire length, and that will make it extremely easy. So let's start there. Let's start with this hillside. So if we go back to our compositing layout and we take a look, we can see where this thing is resting, right? It's resting on top of this hillside. So we just have to roto a little bit of this bush and then a little bit of this hillside, not farther than right down here. So that's pretty straightforward. So it's sitting right here, and we don't even have to go as far down as that. We can come down to maybe here. So probably this guy, right? What we're going to do is we're going to use tracking to assist in the rotoscoping. Because if you parent to something, if you parent a mask to a track or to a plane track, it will certainly speed things up a whole lot. So here's what's going to happen, right? So if we look at this shot, there's some rotation, right? Right there. Look at that. See that rotation that's happening and back? So if we create a mask, let's tab over. While you're in the motion clip editor, movie clip editor, hit tab and you go to the rotoscoping panel. And so far all we've got is nothing, right? New, add circle. I'm going to I've been in the works for a long time on a comprehensive, massive rotoscoping course to cover everything we'd ever want to know about rotoscoping in general and in Blender. And that's going to be the really definitive thing. That's down the line a little bit. But for this one, I'm just going to cover the basics of what we need to get this done. So if we select, let's first create our mask, right? Let's just do that. Let's click New, and we're going to call this one, we're going to call it Far Hillside. And be very, very careful to name all of your masks. This is where you name them, right down here. Make sure you do this. If you've only got one mask in your shot, that's great. Maybe you can get away without it. But as soon as you've got 5, 6, 7, which is perfectly normal. Normally in a shot at work, I've got 30 or 40 rotos. You definitely want to start labeling these things. You don't want them called mask 1, mask 2, mask 3, mask 4. You'll drive yourself crazy. It takes almost no effort to type in a name. I strongly encourage you to do it. So let's go ahead and create that mask, right? I'm going to hold down Control, and we're just going to go, if we look at this shot, right, the perspective of this hillside and this hillside barely changes. So I'm just going to start right here and click and pull out a handle. I'm holding down Control, I'm clicking and pulling out this handle. And you can see it's kind of perpendicular to where I'm dragging. And the Blender folks at the Institute came up with this handle type that's a single handle that there are two handles here, but they're hidden in this type, but we can reveal them later. So anyway, control click down here. I'm still holding control. I'm clicking down here. I'm clicking here and dragging, and I'll click here and I'll click here, and then to close it I'm going to hit Alt C, and that will close it. So here's our mask, right? And it's not ideal yet. It's not perfect by any means, but we're going to make it perfect. This is probably the one mask in this shot that we will be able to make perfect. So I'm just kind of adjusting things a little tiny bit. Have you ever seen those people that when they draw a mask, they just go like, all right, so we're just going to garbage roto this hillside, and they do this. And you're like, what in the world? Take a little bit of care and just draw, use 2-3 points, minimal points. There's no need if you're doing a garbage roto, which is just kind of like a general outline of something. There's no reason to have 50 points. One is always fine. So anyway, not one, like, 3 or 4. Okay, so we're going to add a few more things in here. Let's add in another one right here. And I'm just holding down control and clicking because I just kind of want to refine this a little bit. Like such. And you can see that as you draw these handles out, it makes that curve wider. So, adjust them as needed to kind of get a nice detailed shape that you want here. And let's go up here and add a few more in here, and here, and here. And let's adjust these guys. Turn this one down a lot. That's kind of nice. You just don't want a straight line, right? If we only had like 3 points here and you get a nice straight line, it's going to give it away as a roto. So put a little variation in there. I'm trying to locate these contours of the ground as best I can, and I think that's pretty good. So if we look over here on the right, now we've got our mask. It's in here really nice. Also, if you did want to change a handle type, you can select that handle and hit V, and here's your different handle types. Align single is fine for, I think, most of the stuff we're going to do today. Over here in our mask layers, you've got a layer, and you've got an eye, a camera, and a selection. Eye, of course, if it's cluttering up the viewport, you don't want to see it, you just turn that off. If you want to not mess it up, click this, and you will now not be able to select it, so it will not get messed up. That's very important, kind of like a lock. And then you've got your render. You turn that off, and it will not render. I'm also going to label this. I'm going to call this Hillside Slope 1. So that if I do end up having to put more in here, I can call it, 2, whatever. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to switch this view. Since we're rotoscoping now, we're not worried about the match move. I'm going to switch this to the dope sheet, and I'm going to go to right here where it says dope sheet. I'm going to go to mask. So what I want to do is I want to see the keyframes of this mask. So if I open this up, you can see there it is, Far Hillside, Hillside Slope 1, unlocked, and there are no keyframes, which is exactly as expected. So let's add in a keyframe, right? So select everything by hitting A twice and hit I, and you'll see a keyframe pops in up there. Perfect. Now the trick, you know what, I better save. Save often, save up one. And now the trick is to have parenting help us out, right? Now we've got to animate it along all of this, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go switch tab, deselect every key, or every track, I'm sorry, and then only select that one that you've got near this hillside. Maybe yours is here, maybe it's on this bush, just something right in this area that we're going to be rotoscoping. I'm going to select this one and hit tab to go back. And with these vertices all still selected, I'm going to hit Control P. And what that did was just parented this mask to the tracker that is selected. So now if we scroll through, you can see it kind of sticks with it pretty good, right? Looks pretty good. However, if you really look at it, let me turn this, you know what? Turn on mask display smooth. Might be a little bit better. If you really look at it, like watch this line in comparison to the bush edge. As we scroll around, look at it right there. See how far up it's moving, and then down here it's kind of inward. And that's that rotation. The plate is rotating, but the mask is not. So how do we fix that? It's easier than you think. What we're going to do, I wish there was a way to select 2 tracks and parent it, and that it would stick with it, However, that's not the case. What we could do, actually, is we could parent these to this bush. So let's do that, actually. Let's... yeah, I was going to do plane track, but I think we'll save that for later because it'll be more important on a later shot, I think. So let's yeah, maybe we can even get away without plane track it completely. What I was going to do, just so you're aware, is I was going to pick 4 points, like this one, this one, this one, and this one, make a plane track, and then parent it, because that plane track is now going to inherit the actual planar motion of that hillside through the whole shot, rotation and all. And then you parent your mask to that. You know what? Let's just do it. Let's just try that. Solve. I'm going to select nothing, and I'm going to select that one and that one. Like that one, shift that one, and that one, and that one. And make sure you're on frame 1, and under plane track solve, click create plane track. You get a nice plane. I'm gonna, just so I can envision it better, I'm gonna kind of move it around to kind of match the perspective of the hillside a little bit, just so I can envision it a little bit better. And it's putting, keep in mind that it's putting invisible keyframes on your plane track on this first frame. So if you have to do any adjustments on that plane track, come back to the first frame. So now when we scroll through, you can see that plane track moves with the rotation and everything. That's interesting. Why does it stop right there? Oh, we have one that goes out of frame. All right, so let's do something else then. Let's delete this plane track, right? That one of those keyers I picked, or trackers, goes off a frame, which apparently completely breaks the plane track. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to delete that plane track, delete track, because I still had it selected. And instead of picking my tracks at the first frame, I'm going to pick them at the end, because these are what's still in the shot, right? So if you look at that guy goes out of frame, all right? We don't want that one. However, this one should stay in, right? All right, so that guy stays in, and we can pick this one, and then we can go back to this one and this one again. We've got 4 selected. I'm going to go back to the first frame and create plane track. There we go, and I'm going to, again, position it so that it's kind of, just to visualize it. You really don't have to position it like this, but I like to just get a visualization of how it's moving with the hillside. And I'm going to scroll right on through, sticks with it right through the whole thing, looks spectacular. Now, something very important again, name it, right? Because we may have more of these. We may do one for down here, we may do one for here. Name this one. I'm going to call this Mountain Plane. And I did that right over here on the right in this plane track tab. Now it's, I wish there was a way to lock it, but sadly there is not. And I'm going to now hit tab to go back into the, you know what, before we do that, deselect everything and then only select your plane track, just to make sure we have no trackers individually selected. It's getting hard to tell with so many in here. So just make sure you have just that selected. Go back to your, hit tab, go back to your mask, and you've still got this mask selected. It's still got 1 keyframe. It's still parented to this track. We're going to actually parent it now to the plane track. Because we've got the plane track selected and only that selected, if we hit Control P now, which I just did, now it should be parented to the plane track instead of to that individual track. So with any luck now, this thing is going to move absolutely perfectly. And look at that. Sticks right with it. There we go. So that roto is done. And if you need to look at your roto, you want to check it out, you can click overlay. You can see it there. Looks very nice. Turn off smooth. What is that? That's weird. This weird. Ooh, maybe we're finding bugs. Oh no, you know what that is? That's the line of the mask kind of trimming off a little bit. So if you turn off the mask, you can see the clean mask. So anyway, there's our mask for that, and it's perfect. So, and to see how that works, let's go ahead. This frame is fine. Let's go back to the compositor and let's find our far distant castle. And you've labeled these nicely, I'm trusting, so that it's very easy to find your castle right here. And we're going to, first let's render this frame. I'm just going to click the render button. I've got my sample set to 2, so it should go mighty fast, which it does. And let's bring in Shift A and a mask. And we're going to turn on anti-alias. I don't know why you would ever want that off. Turn on far hillside, or grab it from this list. And if we plug it into the factor, you are going to see some magic. We made the castle disappear. No. What we're doing is we got to invert that. So if you hit Shift A, color, invert, should be perfect. Little hard there, but otherwise this is going to be beautiful. I'm going to hit H to kind of hide these down a bit, and I'm going to actually move them into the castle group node here. And we're going to add one more thing. Can you guess what it is? I'm sure you can. It is a blur. We're going to blur that a little bit right there, and zoom in there, take a look at it. What, 4 maybe? 5? 5 looks pretty good, huh? 5 looks all right. Maybe 4. Let's see 3. Let's see 3. Let's go with 4. Right down the middle. Looks good. Perfect. And there you go. That's now what we're going to do to this bush and this pathway. However, like I said, if this was a straightforward shot, it wouldn't be too bad, right? This one wasn't too bad. However, because we had those trackers, right? But this shot is not, with her walking right in the foreground, it's not as straightforward as we need it to be to get trackers off of this hillside and off of this path, because she is constantly walking in front of it. Save often. And so I came up with at work, we do this all the time. Not this technique I'm showing you, but any technique you can use to help rotoscope. A studio knows, right? Because everybody hates rotoscoping. It's time consuming, it's a drag, it's monotonous. Anything you can do to speed it up. Some tools out there let you, if you have a 3D camera, you can just place a card in space and do your roto on that, and it'll come right through. And we could probably do that in this. Maybe not so much on this shot. But I came up with a great idea on how to make something to track, right? So we've got. Let's just get started. Let's just dive right in, right? Let's go over to motion tracking. We have a solve, right? So we have a solve. So in our solve, in the default view, if we go to this layer, right, and you turn on your motion tracking spots, which I cannot see. Where are they? Are they gone? Am I on the wrong layer? Where are they? There they are. Spheres, right? So we've got spheres everywhere, right? Everywhere. All over the place. And as we go through the shot, there they are. They're right behind her, right? So while we don't have an individual tracker to parent to roto this bush while it's behind her, we do have all the information we need, right? Because we've solved the camera, we know where that bush is behind her. So what I've decided to try to do is, let me show you. We're going to, I'm going to turn on this layer as well. I'm going to, all these layers are turned off, right? I'm going to, Should we save this as something else? Maybe we should. We should probably save this as a different project, right? If you turn on the motion trackers, and we select that guy, we come down here. Oop, I'm just zooming out all crazy. Let's save this. Oh my goodness, what are we doing here? There we go. Thank you. Let's save this as something else. I'm going to save it as is right now. Save Set Extension version 5 is my current working project. I'm going to save this as, I think I did a test, right? Roto marker test, I called this. So I'm going to call this one, I'm just going to call this one Roto marker. I'm not testing anymore. I'm actually doing this. I'm going to call it Roto marker because what we're going to do is we're going to create markers that we can then track to get tracks that run through the whole shot that then we can parent our rotos to. So we're basically creating a render of markers for rotoscoping. So I'm calling it roto marker 1, save as. Now we can kind of do whatever we want to this file. You know what? Maybe we shouldn't. I just can't make up my mind. All right. Anyway, so we can see where some things are here. I'm going to switch this back to plane axes just to get a cleaner view here of what's what. And as we scroll through here, you know, see, none of these things are moving, right? So let's go to a new, let's put this camera, I'm going to go to a new frame. I'm going to hold down shift so it's also on this layer. And then I'm going to turn on that layer, or just that layer, actually. And this is going to be the layer where we create our trackers. So let's blow this guy up a little. Oh, I can't see my timeline. All right, let's just do this and scroll. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for points along that hillside that kind of are what I want, or what kind of where I need trackers to be, right? Like at the end here, you can see we've got one right there. And that one kind of stays put right where it's supposed to through the whole shot. And I think it'll work great for what we want to do. You know what, though? We may not. Yeah, I think we will do that one. Yeah, let's do that one. So down here, you can see where that is. And let's do this. I'm going to do this kind of quick so we can zip through this. I'm going to hit Shift S, cursor to selected, right? It's going to put 3D cursor right on that point. Then I'm going to Shift A and add in a sphere, UV sphere. This is way too big. Let's just cut these in half, 16, 8. We don't need that much geometry. They're just going to be dots, essentially. And I'm going to scale it way, way, way down. So it's just a tiny little thing like that. Like that. But then you want to go to the end and make sure it's not too tiny. And I think that'll be quite all right. What else you want to do right now while you've got it selected? Hopefully you're on cycles, as we all should be. And I'm going to turn those off. Opening a new window here and opening a node editor, and I'm going to click new on that. I'm going to call this white marker, and I'm going to go right here and I'm going to switch it to emission, which will change it automatically to emission. I'm going to change it to completely white in the color, and we are done. So if I Shift Z and we render that, all you can see is the white dot. You don't want the background on. Turn the background off. Go over here, turn off compositing, turn off transparent, and go to the world setting and change that to black. And now you can see exactly what we're going for here, right? If we move that thing out of the way now you can see we've got a tracking dot that moves through the whole shot. Which, does it go out of frame? It does go out of frame, huh? All right, well, watch this. The magic of this is this hillside is like a known spot, right? So it doesn't have to stay right on that thing. We can actually move it in a tiny bit like that. There we go. And to get a few of those other spots, I'm going to turn back on the background image. I'm actually going to turn it down, turn on transparent again, and turn this down just so we can kind of see. And now we can take a look at where else we want to put one. If I go to material, would it show me? Nah, well, anyway. So let's do one down here as well. Kind of this right there near the front of the bush. Right? That looks great. Let's do that one. this is, again, we're going to do this quickly. Shift S, cursor to selected. I'm going to select that other sphere and Shift D to duplicate, hit enter, and then Shift S and selection to cursor, and it should throw that other sphere right onto that cursor. So now you got two spheres through here, perfect for tracking your hillside. However, we need two more, right? So let's get on with that. Maybe this one here. This one here looks pretty good. I'm going to go Shift S, cursor to selected, grab that guy, Shift D, enter, Shift S, selection to cursor. There we go, another one. I'm actually going to move that one a tiny bit closer, like that, and scale it down a touch. And let's see, how does it last throughout? It looks great. And then I guess this guy, huh? This one here, because it's kind of the last one we got. It gets kind of crazy there at the end, right? Not sure about this. Let's do this one, actually. You can leave these in. It's just deciding which ones we're going to track later. Oh, look at that. That's in front of that one. That's interesting. That's not what we want. We want one that's kind of, there we go, like that. That's kind of in front. Something that represents this hillside at a nice perspective to the camera. I think that is our guy right there. And let's go Shift S, cursor to selected, select that sphere, Shift D, enter, Shift S, selection to cursor. And I'm going to put one here. I'm not totally convinced that this is going to be the one that we use, but Shift D, enter, Shift S, selection to cursor. But it'll be all right to have one there just in case. I think I'd rather have one kind of like up here, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. Like if I Shift duplicate that and move it in Z, and then kind of move it back on the hillside a little bit, I'm not sure if that's going to stay. No, see how it goes out of the shot there? That is not what we want. We want this in, we want it down, we want it forward a bit, like that. And then hopefully, I'm not sure how that's going to work out. Let's move it up a bit. Yeah, I'm not sure how this one is going to work out. Don't go out of frame, stays in, kind of. Right there, we're going to move it in a tiny bit. Yeah, this is a tough one, huh? All right, let's see. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to Shift duplicate Y, move one down to here. And I think that will be all right. I'm just kind of trying to get one kind of between those other two spots. And I think between all these spots we have here now, we'll be able to get a nice corner pin, a nice plane track out of that. So that'll work for that, right? We've got that side. Let's do this pathway now. We're going to do the exact same thing on the pathway. I hope this isn't too confusing. It's a little bit of a strange technique. But hopefully you'll see what we're going for here in a minute. Let's go to the end here, and I'm going to select this far away one right there, and Shift S, cursor to selected. I'm going to grab one of these guys again, Shift D, enter, Shift S, selection to cursor. Now before I do anything else, this is a new one. This is the pathway. So I'm going to actually click on the number 8 here, which is going to make a duplicate, but it's going to make it a new shader. I'm going to call this one red marker. And obviously, we will now change this color to red. And that's perfect. So now when we look at this, we've got a little red one in there, right? And you want to kind of scale that guy up a little tiny bit. Some of these are a bit big. We'll have to make the trackers pretty big, but I think it'll be all right. And now, so the red ones will represent the pathway, obviously. And the other ones, the white ones, will represent the hillside. So I'm going to go ahead and grab something maybe here like that, huh? Yeah, I think that looks great. I'm going to do the whole cursor thing. Cursor to selected. Grab that red one. Shift duplicate, enter. Shift S, selection to cursor. And I'm going to do one here maybe. What am I on? There we go. Much easier to see them. Yeah, I think that one will be great. Let's go Shift S, cursor to selected, select that red one again, Shift D, enter, Shift S, selection of cursor. Now we got a red one there, and I'm actually going to move that one over a tiny bit. So it's still on the pathway plane, but I just want a little bit more distance in here. I feel like that'll give me a slightly better calculation for the plane track. So this last one, I'm actually going to put a point out here in space, but I just want it to be on the plane of the pathway. So I'm going to select that one back there, and I'm just going to hit Shift D, X, and move it out here in space. So you can see now we've got four, if I shift this, right, we've got 4 red dots that represent this plane that the pathway is on. So we're going to be able to track that, plane track that, and parent a rotoscope to it, and it should just be magical. And with any luck, the same thing will happen on this hillside, but we will have to see. I'm going to select a couple of these guys and maybe make them a little smaller. Scale that one down a bit. Yeah, like that. And this guy here. Is that? Yeah, no, there. Right there. Scale it down a bit. I just want them as small as can be that the tracker will still see them. Scale it down a bit. And let's do this guy as well. Scale it down a bit. And I think that's pretty good right there. So does this make sense, right? We're gonna render this out. This turn off transparent. We're gonna render out this weird looking shot. However, those are gonna give us very nice plane tracks for everything we want to roto. So let's go ahead and render this output. Where's output? Down here somehow. Doesn't have to be fancy. Make sure you pick RGB. JPEG 100 quality. I'm going to turn the sampling up to say 10, and I'm going to turn the let's do a quick test render. UV image editor, render result. Our old render was that. We don't want compositing turned on. You can mess with your performance. I think the later version, 2.78c, may not even have this or work with this, but sampling's 10. I think we're good, right? Light pass, that's all fine, I think. Let's just do a render and see what it looks like. Oh, we're rendering all the layers. Stop that. Okay. This is why I wanted to save it as a different file, because we're going to get rid of all this crap, right? We're going to delete this one, delete this one, delete this one, delete this one. And on this one, we are going to pick that layer, and you can call it Roto Markers Render. One layer, pretty quick render, not even 2 seconds, or yeah, not even 2 seconds. Very nice render. Do not turn motion blur on. And let's go ahead and set this up. Let's see, set extension. I already did a Roto Trackers test, so I'm going to call this Roto Markers, right? That's what I was calling it. So let's call it Roto Markers Final 01. And I'm going to select all that, copy it, create a new folder, paste it, underscore JPEGs, and that's where we're going to put them, right there. Throw in one more underscore right there, accept and save and render, and I will see you in the next video when we continue on with this technique.